Right. Hi, guys. Good evening. Sorry about the delay. I really do apologize. My laptop starts acting up. I'm getting ready to then use the tablet and then it starts working again. So, um, hi, welcome to my channel. Sorry about the delay. My name is Miss Nabia. Let's get into the first 48. Now, there's 2 episodes in one. So, how do I explain? Like, there's 2 crime scenes in one, so I'll kind of give you a little bit of a recap of both, and then it's just open discussion. Really, we can talk about crime, whatever type of crime it leads into, maybe even a personal situation you've been through. I don't know, but we can all discuss it. Now, the first case, right? And these cases are so sad. Like, it's called the Gamer case. Yeah, this one plays off in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, it's basically they get a call, as first 48 usually starts with 999. We get a call. Yeah, I made it, Gio. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, by the way. Thanks, Doreen, for watching, and Gio. Yeah, so it starts in Atlanta, Georgia. And the emergency services get a phone call from somebody who's claiming so he needs help, and the lady on the phone says, we'll get the police and the ambulance to you, so wait there. Now the police get there. He doesn't know who shot him, but all he knows is that the guy jumped in the truck and ran off, drove off, right? Now when they turn up, they found the one victim laid on the floor, absolutely, like, passed away, basically, like shot in the head, injured, dead, passed away on the floor in this breezeway. They called it a breezeway. Now, we don't really, maybe they call it something else here in the UK, but breezeway is not really something that we say. So, you guys know what I'm talking about, in between the apartments. And he's laid on the floor, passed away. Now, the second victim is the one that actually called the police. So he's now laying on the floor for a couple of meters down, been taken to the police station at this point, been taken to hospital, sorry, before they take him to the station to question him. And when the police looks around, they realize there's like 4 different shell casings, 4 different shell casings, but they come from 2 different guns. Now, they're thinking, okay, so we've already got 2 suspects. So they're now looking around, obviously, for what evidence they can find. They canvass the area, as they do usually, in these cases. Shortly before, this actually happened, these 2 security guards had said that they saw a car drive by, and then the shooting happened, and they must have, driven off really quickly. So that happened, and they saw kind of what the car looked like. So they took the registration, and asked them, a few more details, and off they went. Then they find out from the guy in hospital. Now, moving forward, because it tends to skip through the hours, doesn't it? The 48 hours. So it's probably a couple of hours later. They go to the hospital, and this guy is now laid in hospital, recovering, but shot in the leg. He then says, I know what happened. So they wait for him to get a little bit better, take him to the station, question him a little bit. And he then says that basically what happened was, they were playing Xbox in his friend's DJ's house. Now, as they're playing the Xbox and chilling or whatever they're doing, DJ's cousin turns up, and the guy in the hospital realizes that this cousin must be gang affiliated, specifically the Bloods, because he's got all these tattoos over him that he recognizes. So he then says, he then is kind of, you can tell he was kind of already on edge. The DJ's cousin then asks him, what are you selling this Xbox, and have you got an Xbox for sale? Now, the boy then says, the one in hospital, victim number 2, I'll just do victim number 1 and victim number 2. Number 1 is already dead on the floor, remember. So number 2 is the guy in hospital shot in the leg. Now, he then explains that the cousin wants to buy the Xbox, but he made it clear to him that the Xbox can still be played on, but has no hard drive. So the guy agrees on $40. They sell the secondhand Xbox to the cousin, right? And off he goes. You know, everybody goes about their business. Victim number 2 just ends up going home that night, and then later on gets a phone call, and they're telling him, you know, what's going on with the Xbox. The cousin can't seem to start it up. The cousin comes on the phone cussing and swearing at him and threatening him and stuff like that, you know, saying that the Xbox is not working properly. I can't get my NBA 2K game to work, you know. And that now escalates. He doesn't think anything of it. His friend DJ kind of reassures him and says, don't worry about him, like he, you know, he's just overreacting. And then the night carries on, and he finds himself sitting outside with a group of his friends chilling. This is victim number 2, and he notices this car driving up, basically, and that DJ's cousin had, you know, jumped out of the car, and he just ran for his life. So as he's trying to get away, he gets shot first, and then all he knows is he hears about 10 different gunshots after. So everybody kind of spreads out. Obviously, it's fight or flight, so they're running and running. And then he then gets caught up, calls the police, you know, as we know. And now they're looking for this particular suspect. Now, this is the DJ, the friend who's called DJ. That's his cousin. So as they're looking for this, you know, cousin of his, they obviously go look through the database and stuff like that. And then, you know, long story short, obviously they try and find him, what car he was driving. He told them he was driving a Nissan, and a white Explorer was following them. So they were in tandem, 2 different cars. So in the end, they kind of tracked down who this guy is, with tattoos on his forehead and stuff like that. You know how these guys do nowadays. They face their they tattoo their face, don't they? Which is just ridiculous. I mean, you can't go nowhere, can't get a decent job, can't do nothing without people even, you know, looking at you and stereotyping you. Why would you want to tattoo your whole face? Like, but that's a different story. We can get into that when I drop the link. And then yeah, so this guy, anyway, skipping forward, they find the cousin, get him into interrogation, right? And basically question him, find out what's going on. This guy seems to be like, you know, 24 years old, no convictions. They look him up. When they look him up in the system, they find that this guy is the guy, because he's been, the victim number 2 described him as having tattoos all over his face. So when they looked him up, it's, you know, clearly him. The gang unit must have dealt with him before, because he's kind of affiliate of the Bloods gang. I think a lot of the gangs kind of spread out, don't they, into all small gangs. So yeah, so he's now an affiliate of the gang, and they found out that he's the one that actually shot him. So when they take the, you know, the picture lineup they do with the 6 guys, and they say, you know, pick out who it is and make sure you're sure, because it all depends who you pick, who we pick up for the crime. And, you know, before you know it, victim number 2, who's shot in the leg, who's the only victim left, points out the guy. So he's then found guilty, obviously. Well, I shouldn't say found guilty, but he's obviously picked up, you know, all the evidence points to him that he's the guilty guy. So in the end, they arrest him. His name is Larry. I think he had a middle name, actually. Hold on, Larry Dion Brown. Larry Dion Reynolds, sorry. And the guy, actually, let's just reassess that, the fact that the guy that died, victim number 1, they found out who his name was. His name was Jared Brown, hence why I got a little bit confused. He was 23 years old, and he was one of 3 children, just an innocent victim, really, because the guy who was actually doing the shooting was after the guy who sold him the Xbox. But this guy who was blatantly shot in the head for no reason, you know, was just there hanging around with his friends. So that was really sad. And his family was remembering him in the episode, you know, celebrating his birthday and stuff like that. And then, you know, once they finally find this Larry guy, the fugitive unit has to go and look him up. And you know, when they finally find him, they then interrogate him a little bit. But this guy, you know, when people come into the interrogation room and they have been through the system, done it probably over and over again, not particularly murder, but, you know, smaller crimes and felonies, where they know how to speak, how not to speak. A lot of the time, the ones that don't have the experience tend to talk and just talk, don't they? But this guy was just shut down. I don't want to talk to you. I don't even have no knowledge of why I'm here, he says. You know, just trying to play the I don't know what's going on type card. But in the end, obviously, he just gets hauled back in the car, taken to jail, and he's sentenced to life. So it's like a second-hand Xbox, you know, is sentencing people to life, and you're shooting up innocent people that had nothing to do with what you were about, right? But you still found a way to justify it to yourself, as if to say, you know, you really didn't do nothing wrong. Even the police officers were shocked, because they were like, this guy was so blasé about everything, like it didn't bother him at all. Now, the second case, now I'm going to quickly recap that as well. It's called the skipping school case. Now, this one is even worse, I think, than the Xbox, because it involves a group of young kids, all teenagers. None of them are above 18, hanging around up to no good when they're supposed to be in school. On this particular day, it's in Tulsa, yet again, like the first case I did. They get a call, you know, emergency services gets a call at 11:04 a.m. Shots ring out in this area from an apartment. The woman claims that somebody's been shot. They need to come and hurry up. You know, somebody's been shot in an apartment. Witnesses apparently had been seen trying to get away from the scene, and the police had rounded them up. So by the time the police come, you know, they got there in time. They rounded up the young people that were all around there, and then, you know, started questioning them, obviously taking them to police station, stuff like that. Now, when they get to the actual apartment, though, they find a young man shot dead, 15-year-old Tommy Thompson. He's a high school football player, wanting to go pro, apparently, you know, trying to look after his mom so he can have a better life. Just the usual, you know, young black kid trying to better his life, basically. And here he is, hanging around with the wrong kids, probably carrying guns that he should have no business carrying, or hanging around with people that got guns, you know. And then they find out that he's been shot 3 times, 2 times on the chest and 1 time in the back. And then when they look around, you know, the usual gathering the evidence, they find gun cases at the scene, 5 to be exact. Then they, you know, question the tenant. They find out who the hell lives in this apartment. There's this woman outside who apparently lives in the apartment. They question her, take her to the station. You know, what's going on in your apartment? Who have you left there? She then says that I've popped out to go and buy a car. I went car shopping, she says, right? And she left her 3 children in the apartment where they live, and she's got a son and 2 daughters. Now, they then invited apparently 4, 5, 6 friends over, because in the end there was like a dozen of kids there, right? And then soon after she left to go car shopping, she gets a panic call from one of the friends talking about, he shot my cousin, you need to get home quick. So yeah, it is actually, sorry Slyker, I've just read your comment, I think it is, yeah. And she then, you know, runs back to the house, and people get questioned. The word, you know, the name Marcus gets thrown around. Marcus is the main suspect. So they then start looking for this Marcus character. Now, when the police, though, look at all the cameras around the apartment block, there's plenty of cameras. So they look around. I love when there's cameras, because you can kind of catch people in the act, and you can, you know, you got no excuse when they got you on camera. You can't say that ain't you when it's blatantly you running away from there. And remember, nowadays, you know, I'm so into crime, like I love it. So they really, like, they have technology that can work out even how a person's walk is. So if you're limping, if you know, dip your leg a certain way and you've got a certain walk, they will find footage of you in previous, remember, there's CCTV everywhere, cameras everywhere nowadays. When you're out shopping in usual, you know, supermarkets and shops and Walmart for you guys, Asda, supermarket, Sainsbury's for us. I mean, it's everywhere. They can look back at footage and put this into a program that can find out who you are exactly. You know what I mean? But that's technology taking it to another level. That's not technology they use in first 48. But so when they look at the CCTV, they see basically that a group of youths are coming in, young kids going into the apartment, and then obviously whatever time passes after, they all run out, so you can tell the scene had kicked off. Somebody had shot the gun, and the guns were firing, so they all ran out. And then as you watch the scene, slowly you see one person in the end running out last. So clearly they zoom in on that person and say that's the suspect. So after they question, the woman's daughter, even the one that lives in the apartment, they question the daughter and tell her what was happening in that apartment. What were you guys doing? So when she then tries to explain herself, she says that Tommy and Marcus were arguing. Now, Tommy is the young lad that's been shot at the moment, right? And Marcus is the alleged suspect at this point. They don't know for sure right now. His name is just being thrown around. So she says they were arguing outside the apartment. It escalated for some reason, and Marcus had shot Tommy and he fell down the stairs. She recalls hearing 4 shots, but they found 5 cases, remember. So the police then looks at the CCTV even more and finds that around the corner, as he's left, and he basically left the shot of that one particular CCTV camera that was on the apartment front, around the corner of the apartment block, there was another camera that actually caught him from the front. So as he's walking up like this, the camera's actually caught him. So he stops, kind of reconsiders what to do, and runs into the apartment block right around the corner from where the murder happened. Now, shortly after, you can see that he's changed his clothes, jumps back out, right? And then jumps into a car with somebody else. Now they've got a suspect and a car. So they look on the camera and can see that it's a blue Mercury, I think, car. So they track down whose car this is. They put out a bolo. I think that means when they put out to any police officer, if they see this car or come across it in a normal stop or whatever, they need to basically apprehend whoever's in that car. So they found this young boy who is himself a minor as well, driving the car, but no suspect. So he then gets brought in for questioning. And then the young lad just says, he doesn't know where Marcus is. Yes, he did pick him up. He understands why he's here, because he picked up somebody who ran away from a murder. It's like so blasé in the interrogation room. Why have young black, I shouldn't say even black, but young kids have this street mentality of, I'm not going to say anything, as if anybody else's life is going to help yours when you're in jeopardy? Like, let's just be real. We need to tell our kids, if you had nothing to do with this, you need to speak and tell the truth. Because if you don't, why would you allow yourself to be pulled into something that really you didn't, you had nothing to do with? Really, you may have been there, but if you just tell them what you saw, that could help a lot. The victim could just be you, could be just like you. I mean, has got a mom at home. The victim all have families and parents. It's just sad. That'll be some of the questions that we can actually get into in a bit. Why these young kids feel the need to do these things. So anyway, this story comes to a close pretty, I shouldn't say pretty quick, because sometimes this particular guy actually got away and tried to be on the wanted list. So they had to actually wait, I think, a couple of months before they found him. In the end, they track him down in Oklahoma, where they bring him back. They bring back the girlfriend who apparently was there with him. She is a minor, so at this point she's got grandparents having to be with her as the allocated adult, appropriate adult, should I say, the appropriate adult who can sit in with her. So now grandparents on each side. She doesn't really know what to say. She's coming up with this BS story that Mark has never shot anybody. He only shot twice, didn't really do anything. Excuses for her boyfriend. Now, before you know it, they obviously, how the detectives are, cut the BS. We'll be straight with you. Do you want to go down for this with him? Like, tell the truth. Like I just said, tell the truth. Do you want to tell us, like, what's going on? And then she decides that, can my grandparents leave? As they do, and tells them everything. She tells them that she confirms the fact that they had an argument on top of the stairs, and that Marcus, she stood in between the two lads, Tommy and Marcus, and he decided to shoot her. And then obviously, as he shoots her, but she's right there. So she's telling him, the police officers, that she only heard 2 shots, but that's not true in the end because they found 5 shell casings. So when she obviously when she decides to spill the beans, right, she's then told, you know, stay in the room. And where is the gun? You said Marcus dropped a gun. She said apparently Marcus had dropped the gun in shock after he shot the boy. So they're like, where is the gun then? Like, how are you leaving the gun behind? Who picked it up? Oh, nobody did. We just left it. I left. So I had a feeling she picked it up. I honestly don't know. But in the end, we don't even find out where the gun went. Now, a couple of days later now, they, you know, this guy is brought in from Oklahoma finally and is taken for interrogation. He then comes up with a story where he came up from the back. Tommy came up from the back. He had a gun earlier in the day and shot me, tried to shoot me, and I shot him. And it was just, you know, blasé defense as per usual. They don't care. You know, he claimed that Tommy had a gun, but when they got to the crime scene, the police knows for a fact that Tommy never had a gun. So it was just, you know, excuses after excuses. But it was a good little 2 episodes. I mean, it was devastating in a way because the young lads who, both stories, you know, were affected. The families, everybody, you could see them, you know, practicing. I shouldn't say practicing. You could see them celebrating their sons' birthdays and stuff in the end, you know, because, you know, they missed their loved one. I've dropped the link. You know, these 2 stories were devastating, to be fair. This guy got arrested, obviously, in the end and got life. So both of them got life. People's life got lost. The one who got shot in the leg is traumatized, still out here in these streets doing whatever, you know, up to no good as per usual. And it's like, when are these circles, should I say generational circles of, you know, let's just be out on the road doing this, shooting people for no reason, shooting each other for Xboxes. I mean, it's just, it's awful. Let me bring up Gio and see what he thinks. Go on, Gio.
Yeah, both of these stories are sad. I actually watched them like a couple weeks ago when I first got back watching the first 48. The first one with the young guy that was killed in the stairway in the apartments, I think that was morally like not even cool. I think the guy who killed him was, you know how people try to get initiation, like to beat somebody in a gang and stuff, like you have to harm somebody or shoot somebody. I think that was the case with that young dude, the young fella. So he took it upon himself. Like, I think he really had like a mental issue. If I would say so, like the way he acted.
The Marcus guy, the one.
Yeah, the Marcus
guy. Marcus, yeah, he looked a bit crazy, to be fair.
Now I think did you hear him when they picked him up and then they let him go smoke a cigarette? He said, "I have a baby on the way. Like I have a little daughter."
Oh, that was Larry. That was Larry from the first case, the one who, the one who shot the guy over the
Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah. Larry.
I think that he had a mental issue. Something was wrong with him because when they took him to the investigation room, he knew what was going on. He knew already that he was in there for. They was picking him up on an investigation of a murder, like he was involved in it. The first thing he said was, "I don't know what am I here for?" Like he knew what he was there for. He was acting. Stop. He was acting like.
Let me bring up Perry.
Hey, what's up,
Perry?
Hey,
what's
you
up,
welcome.
bro?
Hey, not too much. I mean,
what's up?
Now I seen that episode. I can't remember exactly what happened in that first one, but I do remember the second one because I guess she had a couple kids and then they invited a whole bunch of people over.
Yeah.
And then something happened. Everybody just ran out the house.
Yep.
And then they found the guy dead, and then the girl was trying to protect him.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was sort of crazy, but I mean, the show itself, I love the show.
Yeah.
So many episodes, and then that go, and then they start playing reruns, and I don't know what's current, but it's always good though.
I mean, you can imagine trying to do a recap for this. It's all over the place, isn't it? The episode, it jumps from one to the other to the other to the other, and I'm trying to keep track and keep notes of who's who. But in the end, the story is good though. Like I like how they show what happens from beginning to end, rather than it's an unsolved crime or whatever. Yeah.
But you know what's sad though?
What's that?
I'm looking at this one. How the hell these young ass boys, 15, 17, like
yes.
we see it every day though here in America. They're able to get these guns, and I'm thinking to myself, who the hell selling these boys guns? Like, who giving them a gun to sit up there and walk around with a gun? Like, and then they kill each other. They
not be scared to even hold a gun. Like, just process that. Holding a gun is not. Listen, you see these guns. I believe, right? Yeah, there's something that's there. When you've got a gun, you're gonna end up using it. That, like, for some reason, the devil is gonna talk to you. That's what I believe. Something's gonna happen. You're gonna pick it up. You know, it could be so out of your character, but once you pick it up and it pops off, it could even go off accidentally. Those are not excuses no more. They will send you down for life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, if you're going to have guns, really, like, and I have guns, but I never go out in public with my guns. They just.
Well, see, there you go. But you're a army guy, so you know what you're doing. I mean, the local, kid who doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't know safety.
No, I agree with you.
You know what I mean?
Even with me, I wouldn't feel comfortable with me walking around with a gun either.
No.
Because it is that time where things get so heated at certain times, or you feel like, hey, somebody's about ready to do something. Whether it's true or not, if I don't have it, I don't have that piece to go out and take care of business.
And can you imagine if you got into it with someone, ruffled around, and they grab it? That's another one, right?
Yeah, right.
So nowadays, it's like mental health is high, you know what I mean? And it's like that I think hides in a lot of this, why people are acting a certain way, why they're committing certain crimes. It's like, what are you doing? You should be chilling with your friends and wanting to do fun stuff, but instead you're in an apartment hanging around guns.
Ms. Navia, I think a lot of kids in the United States, though, I think they go through this thing where they're not there for the education. They just want to hang out and do their stuff, and then they want this street cred. This street cred is bigger than the education, right?
Yeah.
They ain't thinking I'm gonna go to Duke, Harvard, or any other college. They're just thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna have fun. We do this, and we'll hang out. And it seems like, regardless of the color, most of the young ones just want to just feel like that's what the girls want. The girls want a thug. So if that's what they think they want, they go out and try to portray that. Or you can find somebody that feel like, hey, you know what? I'm not really feeling comfortable in this situation, so let me act like a thug so I can back this person up. And you know how you go, you act a bit one day, then the next day you start participating, and then it just carries on. Yeah. And they think, hey, it was so much fun and it was great. You know what I'm saying? And they just feel like, I don't know. I think they just get to that point where they start to care too much about the thug life and not really know what the thug life is. Yeah. Because, half of them don't know what they're getting into. They just think it's cool at that high school level. Yeah. Yeah. To be the big guy on campus.
Yeah, but I would say this, with them young dudes out there that's toting them guns like that, it's like war in the streets, like everywhere, like especially in America, it's war in the streets between all these gangs and drug dealing, and it's so much going on. Like you can't even turn your head and go to a nice environment and think that there's no type of like beef going on, especially with these young dudes, because these young guys, they don't have no. Let's say they don't. There's no more morals and no OGs and stuff. All the OGs and stuff is locked up. That's what you're seeing now. What you're seeing in Chicago, that's basically what you're getting. There's a lot of young.
There's no value for life. If you're killing over $40 of Xbox, they're killing over nothing, aren't they? They're killing over pennies. Like you talk to me a certain way. Did you hear what his defense was? The Marcus guy on the case with the not with the Xbox. The other one, right? He says, he was talking about me upstairs. I heard him talking about me and talking about robbing me. So when he heard him talk about him robbing him, so how did you hear that? I was downstairs. So where was your gun? The gun was upstairs. So where were you? I went and gone and got the gun. Like, it's like step for step, they will tell you, listen, you could have changed your mind. You're telling us how your brain worked out A, B, C, D to get to the crime that you committed, right? So that is not even a defense for you to say he was talking about, like, there's no reason you thought he was going to rob you. He didn't rob you. You claimed he had a gun. There was no gun found at the scene besides the one you used, right? So it's what's, when they get into the room, they haven't got the bravado, like you said. I agree. Then they are coming up with all the lies in the world to cover up what they did, as if the police is stupid enough to say, yeah, okay, no worries, close the folder and you can go out the door.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, but I'm thinking at that point, he probably was just trying to find a way to either get off or lessen the sentence by saying the guy tried to shot at him early in the day. Yeah. Therefore, when he ran across him and he heard the guy talking about robbing him, he assumed the guy was going to shoot him. Because I think he did say something like, he pulled a gun on me. I think he said the guy pulled a gun on him, right? And he shot him. And then he shot him like a self-defense. But they never found the gun from the other guy.
Yes.
So
there was no gun there.
No, right.
But see, with that, it's like that young boy said that he approached it as like, oh, I can get off with self-defense. Like he been watching too many movies. Like, dude, this boy didn't even have a gun on him. So, and then the saddest part is the girlfriend. They so young that the girl go in there and try to lie for him. Like, I'm like, man, these kids gotta be at least 16, 17. The girl in here lying to the detectives. Detectives can see everything was going on. Like her hands was telling the whole thing. Like she kept grabbing her hands and fidgeting and shaking. I'm like, dude, you're lying. Like detectives know you're lying. They already know that you're trying to stick up for this young boy, which is the dumbest excuse in the world. And then to say that he had a gun on him, because you don't know we can see him. What you mean? I just woke up, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I've been up at work all night since 12 p.m. So I just literally woke up from an hour nap. But my do-rag acting up. But yeah, I got it. So I'm gonna get it right. This first 48 we talk about. Don't worry about the do-rag.
I mean, we're getting all these guns. I don't really know, but I think a lot of these guns probably. I mean, if they selling a lot of guns, people just have guns. Period. Yeah. But I think the guns they getting a hold to is like ones that's maybe that some got stolen from home burglaries and things like this, and then people just pass guns around. You know, once they get them, they just recycle them and keep kicking them around. That's what I think. Yeah, I ain't exactly sure where they get them from. I know they can't.
Guns have always been sold under the, under the table, as they say, right? So I'm sure somebody who's looking one can find one. You know what I mean? In that sense, if you go to certain areas, I'm sure you can find one, depending on who you know.
It's either, I think, honestly, who giving these kids them guns, like it's either somebody that's grown that don't care about life they self, and they involved in gangs they self, or probably
I mean, one was blood affiliated. One was blood affiliated. Yeah.
Drugs. It could be, most likely it could be somebody that's on drugs or either using and just trying to find a little easy, because these are young kids running around with drugs too. They selling. So they might run into one of the drug users, but hey man, let me get that. I'll give you this. And they'll give it to them. You know what I'm saying? Won't think twice about it. They'll just give this child a gun. Next thing you know, somebody get killed. And they're like, man, I gave that kid that gun. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, a couple months later, you looking at this kid on the news and killed another kid. So it's sad. Both kids lost their life too young, way too young.
Yeah, it's a lot of them. Just in, my kids' high school done got arrested for guns, got arrested for shooting. I mean, I haven't seen one got caught up for murder yet, but it starts somewhere. If you running around with them, just shooting up in the air, doing crazy stuff, robbing and stealing, eventually, somebody's gonna get seriously hurt. It's crazy.
No, and the second one, I mean, the one where the guy was blood affiliated with the tattoos all over his face. I mean, that guy was in it so deep that when he's sitting in the police station with his hands behind his back, he's like, what you got me in here for? What you got me? It's like, they got you in there for murder. We got you there for murder. And he's like, well, I don't even have no knowledge of why I'm here. You're here for murder. Exactly. And he keeps repeating himself like, him saying the slick remarks is gonna magically just get the cuffs off his hands. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's just some people, some of these young boys, they're so into this lifestyle that they regret it when it's too late. Let me put it that way. They regret it when they're maybe our age, in their 30s, still in jail, in their 40s, still in jail, because you're serving life, remember? And then you got no way back. And then you know what are you going to tell me now? Oh, I've been to college in jail and I did this in jail, and you know, because that's the best they come out with, right?
Yeah,
you know, little diplomas and whatever they make you do while you're in there. So
you know, most of them don't regret it until, well,
life has took a toll.
It's not too much. If they get killed, they ain't have too much time to regret it. But as soon as they get locked up for crimes they did, at that point, that's when they start to regret it. But it's too late, because the things they don't did is got them in there. And at that point, can't no mother, father, or nothing save them at that point. You know what I'm saying? So it's a sad thing. And with this show, I mean, when I say it's good, it's just like entertaining when you see what's really happening. But every case, I can't go back to no case and say, damn, you know what?
Hello.
That person.
Hi guys, how are you?
I didn't expect you to be into First 48. Are you into this?
Oh my! Everybody's into the First 48.
Nice.
Mr. Bill, the only reason I watch that show is I'm trying to spend time with her, and she's watching.
Oh, is it? No way.
I watch marathons. It's crazy.
Do ya?
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you guys. Go ahead, Perry. Did I cut you off?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, basically, I was just saying about these guys. I said every episode is really good. But I haven't seen a case yet to where you're like, damn, I understand where this person was coming from, why they did what they did. It's like everything they do, it's like, man, that was so stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, I did this for this reason. Every reason is so stupid, but in their mind, they try to justify it when they're in that little room getting what's the word?
Interrogated.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I wanted to say this. I wanted to say that I don't think a teenager's brain is fully developed until you're well into your 20s. And I really do think that the rap music and being cool is a huge influence on them, because I have
definitely.
My son is 17. He's in that age group. He has nothing to talk. He has no reason to be saying thug life. None at all.
No,
he has two parents that have been married 30 years. We live in a nice place. It's no reason, but that's all his friends gravitate to, isn't it, Perry? It's like, we're trying to why do you guys think this stuff is cool? He has one friend that's been to jail several times for doing stupid stuff, robbing someone at gunpoint. What? I just don't understand. Do you guys think it's the rap music and that culture?
It has a lot to do with the rap music.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's, you know, remember, men always have had that pride and ego anyway. It's naturally built in. So when you're a young man who doesn't really know themselves, doesn't really even understand what they're really about, but that ego and pride overrides. Remember, and what you said, I agree, it rides with that brain that's not fully developed, that doesn't, you know, understand consequences. That's what they say, right? They can do the deed and do the crime. Let's say they do something wrong. They actually don't process what could happen after. They just do what they're doing, right? Yeah. But as adults, we think about what's the consequence. So that's where it's a combination, I think, of everything. If you're into the hood music and you're talking about selling this and selling that, but really you're living up in the suburbs, imagine that, because there's a lot of those as well, aren't there? The ones that really don't even know about it, like what Perry said, living a good life with their parents that, you know, they provided because they probably worked hard giving it to them. Yeah. And then they're out here hanging around with the ones who weren't really so much given a chance in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The two of them then mangled together, and then you've got this pot of children who really don't know what they're doing, are being sent out on the road. Go and do this because it makes you look cool. Yeah, I shot him, so you should be scared of me now. It's just a never-ending circle, isn't it? I mean, you've got a son. It's such a challenge to keep them from that, isn't it? Like, you can probably talk about that a little bit more. Do you? I don't know. Do you find that he has certain friends that you think, stay away?
A lot of
all of them.
All of them? Oh no.
Yeah.
Your son doesn't watch this, right?
He doesn't have to, he's far past watching the first 48. We'll move to different states.
This. So he
no.
All of them.
He can hear me. He's right here. He can hear me.
Okay.
But he just finds the lifestyle wherever we move. Doesn't he, Perry? He'll just
it's like this. I think like it comes from the rap music and all that. And then you know how like some school, like maybe some kids who's not already like liking high school and stuff like that school. Mm-hmm. So they tend to joke around with the other people who don't like it. Then they instead of making A's, they basically try to find another way to get credibility. And they try to do it by being gangsters. You know, I might not be the smartest, but I got the most street cred in the high school. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. Yeah. If they start to strive for this other notoriety that they can't get on the test course.
Mm-hmm. In these videos that they look at, the rap music, all the rappers, all that stuff is rented. It's all fake and staged, but they believe it. Yeah. When they rap about drugs like Future, they believe it.
But see, with what Perry said, I'm gonna piggyback off of what Perry said, because it's not necessarily all these young guys' brains aren't developed, because you got some young guys out there that they're past their age at 16 and 17. They're smart, you know, like and they don't follow that. Like it's the fact that when they get on them drugs, they get to hearing this rap music. Like, cause if you notice in the 80s, when gangster rap hit the scene, that's when crack hit the scene, and it was just a mess. Like it was body after body after body that would just drop. Mm-hmm. We're seeing a new rise to that with the younger, and it's attacking the younger generation. These kids are running around with guns at 7 and 6 years old, like Lil Yummy. Like this boy, if you ever go watch this documentary, you should watch it. It's about a boy from he was from the Black Disciples. I think his name was Lil Yummy. They killed him because they sent these grown men sent this little boy on the mission to go kill some other kids, and he ended up killing one of the gang leaders' nieces. So they took him down the alley and shot him in the head twice. You see what I'm saying? So it has a lot to do with this hip hop era. Like these gangster rappers or whatever, they come out with all this jewelry on to impress your mind, to where you see it, you're like, oh, I want to be just like that. I want the cars, I want the women. All that stuff is used for impressionable minds. So you see it and you be like, oh man, how can I get that? And then you hear these stories of some of these rappers, they'll be like, yeah, I was trapping, I was selling. And half of them weren't even doing none of what they saying they be doing just so they can get views and clicks. But then they gonna have your kid going out here doing all that what you said you did and they ain't never even do it. It's just sad. It's sad.
Right. No, I mean
a lot of this though plays in Tulsa. What do you guys know about this city? Why is it always in Tulsa? People are getting done in Tulsa.
What is going on? I mean, you notice they got certain places they film. They got certain places they film.
How is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's like certain places. Like they used to have one in Memphis. I think they had one
Atlanta, Georgia. Then they've got Tulsa a lot. I mean,
Tulsa
is number one.
Little Haiti, Miami, or something like that. Like Little Haiti. They call it Little Haiti or something. But believe it or not, though, it don't matter where they film it at. So when you see these couple places, it's not just in those cities.
It's the whole country.
As long as you got young kids in any city, I don't care if you're in Wyoming. Yeah. Behind that barn is some kids doing the same stuff.
Wyoming,
you're right. And probably worse because a lot of these sorry to interrupt, a lot of these countryside places are known for that meth and that hard, all that chemical stuff, isn't it? Yeah. Compared to the cities, really. Yeah.
What I want to
know. Go ahead, Sherelle.
Go ahead, Gio.
No, I was just gonna say these kids are taking Xannies and it's what's that pill they're taking? It's like one of these pills that they're taking. You can do something to somebody and then don't even remember that you did it until the next day. It's bad, like.
Yeah. A lot of the time they hide when they're committing murders, aren't they? Because they're doing it in that moment of their eyes are popping. They don't even know what's going on, but they're just, and then they're covered in blood. Yeah,
think,
running away from the scene, and then it's like they don't know what they did. They were high, all of them, or they were drunk, or it's a combination of both.
Right, but don't get me wrong when I say this. Them being high and them being drunk or whatever didn't cause them to shoot that person.
Yeah,
it was already set up that way. Like if I'm sober and keep playing with a gun long enough, I'm gonna have an accident. If I'm playing with a gun and get high, it's a faster chance that I make a mistake faster, right? So I'm saying some of them are high. They say they don't remember, but they would have never been in that situation if they was only high or drunk and not having that weapon. Did you understand?
Totally.
Dr. Phil explained it this way. He said you make that decision in your mind before the act even happens by living the lifestyle and having the thoughts that you have.
Oh, so it's kind of pre already in there, already kind
of. But it's like,
okay, yes, no, it's not pre-planned. It's that you don't basically made yourself into this gangster, right?
Yeah.
If you was a church boy and had a gun, maybe you wouldn't have did it. But if you just gangster, so you got this mindset. So when you get that mindset on weed, when you get that mindset on alcohol, you might do something crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
So if you play this game enough, really, and we all don't see these people who really ain't gangsters. Because trust me, I go to my son's high school. Man, come on. You ain't really that.
Do they act like the ones we're watching?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's crazy.
They come out of this high school, and then that's how they looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they cruising through the nice neighborhood because that's where they live.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't act like they in some bad neighborhood, or you know what I'm saying?
But
because that's the image that seems to be so cool, isn't it?
But for this young generation,
some people would somebody look at them and say, "Hey, you know what? This guy's doing good over here. Financially okay." They don't want that, and then they start thinking, "Oh, they think I'm a square over here." So now they want the nice neighborhood, but then they want the street cred and being a gangster at the same time.
Yeah.
Go look at. You can go around. This is a perfect example. Just go ask all these young dudes, like, who do y'all listen to? 2 rappers they gonna bring up. They gonna say King Von and they gonna say NBA YoungBoy.
Oh my gosh, he is so bad.
Both of them rappers talk about nothing but murder, nothing but, and they do it blatantly, and don't even care. They talk about this gang banging stuff, throwing the flag. And they have guns in their videos, like real guns. Some of them be real, like they'll lie and say they're props, but then next thing you know, they're getting indicted on weapons in a video that was not supposed to be in the video, and they're selling drugs, all types of stuff. These young kids look up to people like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't look up to the soldiers no more that go over to other countries and fight these wars for why America's still standing today. They don't look up to firefighters. They don't look up to, they for sure ain't looking up to no police officers. Like they hate the police now. Like, you think it was bad back then? They hate the police.
I hate NBA YoungBoy and Kodak Black, which is my son's favorite rappers. They can't even talk. Do you see Kodak Black and his hair?
That's what he does. No, don't get me wrong. His beats are bad, but that's all he does. Like,
would you look at him, Miss Nibia? Would you look at him and say, "Hey, I want to be just like that"?
No.
Would y'all date him?
Mind you, he's actually, I think, getting done for allegedly raping somebody, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, and he just got, I think Trump signed one of his cases off. You know, when you get pardoned.
That he paid for. They said that he paid for.
He would have been in jail for a very long time already, and right now he's waiting to be sentenced. So, I mean, he can mumble away for all I care. Honestly,
it's got to be the culture, because NBA YoungBoy was dating Floyd Mayweather's daughter, who stabbed him.
Yes, and she's another one.
Yeah, you have all the money in the world. What are you doing?
What you fighting for a young black man for who don't even want you? He's here hustling. You know what I mean? Sitting with his baby mama. You ain't even got kids for him, and then you end up getting pregnant.
Oh yes, she did. It's true.
He's having a baby, remember? With that never broke again the Never Broke Again character. That's what his name is, right? Never Broke Again. I mean, come on.
I'm gonna be real with you. Miss Nabia, you know they say it's something in Perry and Sherelle. It's something. The frequency of this music, you know, back in the day, y'all know what real music was back in Perry and Sherelle days. That's what real music was. The frequency was different. I love
old school R&B and soul, and I love all of that.
This frequency of this music, it's at like they said, it's at 40 something kilometers. So I don't know, but it's very high frequency to where these kids they listen to it. If they put on them headphones, it feel like they living that life. You know what I'm saying? Like they feel like living that life. And they getting the rocking out, and they don't even know they just manifested into something that they don't even want. Like they'll go outside and just be mugging people. You know what I'm saying? Like, why your energy?
I mean, to me, what I think it is, and you know, I'm not gonna say the frequency because the beats just as good as the ones we had back in the day. It's the language. Yeah. Sugar Hill Gang. Hip hop, the hip it, you don't stop. Ever went to a friend's house?
That's way different.
In a chicken tastes like wood. No, that's a totally different thing. Ain't nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got, you know.
This is hype up music.
It's the language. It's the language they use, and then the videos and the stuff like that they'll come out with that makes kids get attracted to it, right? Because this guy, say you're in high school, damn man, I wish I had a girl. Look at this girl here, and they all got the young ones, and you know the loosest ones out there, just bouncing like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And you can imagine the young boy could look at her and say, yo, let me talk to you. And if she says no, oh, you bitch. You know, you can imagine because of what he listens to, because that's what they call them, isn't it?
Right.
So even that, the relationships that should be given a healthy start as to understanding a young woman of your age is now being pushed to you treating her like she's from the roadside, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's that's how they portray the women.
So you need to realize this is that they're in two different eras. You in high school, and most of it start in that, you know, junior high school, right? So I'll say mostly high school. So what they got to realize is this: the girls that they see on the videos in the school get so much attention that these guys look and say, hey, how can I, you know, try to pull up to talk to this young lady? You can't unless your pants sagging down to your ankles.
Yeah.
You
can't. Do you guys have that English sagging?
Listen, all the young lads are on that stuff. I mean, the other day, I think one of them said, kind of threw a line at me in my language and then asked me what tribe I'm from. I said, what? And he was like, and mind you, he was, I don't even think he was black. I think he was from a different country. But it's like the young people nowadays, they want to have maybe relationships with females, but the way they're approaching them is cheap. How are you supposed to, as a young woman, value yourself if the best you're going to get is a roadside whistle? Or a roadside, hey, you know, I want to talk to you. Do you know what I mean? A young woman is going to settle for that because that's what everybody is doing. Mm-hmm. There is no chivalry anymore. There's no young women who know what it means to be respected. You know, they're out here already with no respect, allowing young men to just lead them out to do whatever they want to do with them. You know what I mean? When really they're not ready, or even vice versa. Sometimes young lads are not ready to be out here dealing with girls, and they could be in the wrong group and girls are taking advantage of them. So it's both sides, isn't it? We have to make sure we keep both sides on a straight and narrow, really, and make them understand healthy ways of relationships.
And you're right about this. Not a black or white thing, because my son has some white friends who come and sag and talk the lingo and all that, and then they go get in a Beamer and go home.
Well, you know what? I watch Wendy Williams, and she always says a thing where she always reminded her son. I'm sure you do the same thing, that they can put their trousers down and yo with you all day long, but when they pull their trousers up and they put a nice shirt on, they're off working for Neiman and Mark or whatever you like call these places, right? But you will still be looked at the same way. You can't just change your image because you're still black. You understand what I mean? So I think a lot of the time, young black men or even young black women, don't forget you're not like them, because when you go apply for the same jobs your girlfriend's applying for, you're not getting it because you're not like me. My name is foreign on paper. It looks foreign on paper, right? So I probably wouldn't even.
You're saying there's a bigger consequence when you're black.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Because when you're white and you decide to get that craziness out your head, because some of them go straight to prison. Some of my son's friends, they get caught up. Yes. If they wanted to, if they have more opportunities, then. But remember you said it's like they don't think of consequences. They don't understand. Yeah. When you go in front of a judge, life means life. And who you are at 16, 17, you're not even giving yourself a chance. And I watched this show, and Miss Nabia, do you watch this? It comes on after the first 48. It's called it's about children like 16 through 18, or maybe some even 15, getting life sentences. And they
What's
don't.
It called?
Oh my! What's the show, Perry? You're watching? It's called
Perry. Wake up! You're there usually.
Oh yeah, no.
Like, hello.
When these kids they're giving children life sentences, and it's like that thought never popped into their
I can't remember the show, and then I mean, because Sherelle will say, well, hey, do you think they should give kids life sentences? I said yes.
I go back and forth. You're 15.
I say yes.
You don't even have a chance to turn your life around. Okay,
I get it, right? But they don't have a life sentence for robbing 7-Eleven or stealing some bread or some bologna and cheese. They typically in there because they have taken another life.
Am I being too nice again?
Well, no.
I mean, we give children life sentences.
I understand what you're saying. Okay. Now I understand what you're saying, because you got two boys and you would hate to see one of them make a mistake like that.
Not just my boy, any boy.
Well, no. Well, I'm just saying mainly because you got to. Now you hate to see maybe any other kid do the same thing, but I always tell you this, and I always bring you back down to earth. If you took that person's story, 15 or 16 or whatever, and then put your family member name into the victim slot, you would look at it differently.
But what about this? You're right. If someone took your life, I would never forgive. But what about when a lot of these children come up under bad circumstances?
I get it, right? Okay. Even though it's still part of me, I always feel like these kids know how they was treated and didn't like how they was treated. It's always a choice. People can treat people the same way they was treated, or they can promise not to treat someone else the way they was treated. It's like a choice somewhere. And most of these kids, I mean, you can be the thuggish of the thug. You can be in a Crip blood or whatever. If you ask any 15-year-old a 10 question on simple things, is running the red light good? Right? I'm saying, you ask them stuff, they know wrong from right.
Yeah.
What's your opinion? I don't know.
It's like this.
Hi, laughing Leo lady.
Oh, hello. How is everybody?
Hey,
how is everyone?
Good, thank you.
I'm from Tulsa. Yeah, it's nice to talk to you again.
Oh, nice.
I'm from Tulsa originally, and I got transferred to Texas. And my thoughts were, oh my goodness, I'm moving to Houston. I mean, what about the crime? What about this? What about that? But then I look back and go home, and it's like, oh my goodness, where it used to be in just certain parts, you can, you have robberies consistently, but it's like across the United States. It's like you all are saying, the kids are being, they think videos are glorified. That's the real life. And like Sherelle was saying, they see those cars and the fast money and the women, and they think that stuff is real. And unfortunately, a lot of the kids, they don't have strong figures, that can help them say, no, that's not the way you want to go. And it's like you said, once they shut that jail door, that's it. Mamas and daddies can't help you get out.
Yep.
And that's what I love about the shows that you all put on your channels. You all are so positive, and you make it where everybody can watch your channels. Well, maybe Perry sometimes. we may need to put a little censor sometimes, but it's a lot of good fun. And you can't see that on TV anymore. It's, my goodness, you have to, like I was saying, I'm 52, and it's like you all were talking about, where is the good music? I can't understand the music now. I was right back there with everybody else, listening to NWA and way back then, listening to all that. 2 Live Crew. You know, but it's like I don't know if I have old ears or I just don't want to, you know, it's like you don't want to listen to that type of music because it's really not music. Like Miss Navia was saying, the beats are great, but the words are not right. No. But thank you for having me on. I just wanted to say hi. I'm getting ready to
Thank you.
I was sneaking. I just wanted to say hello to everybody. It's real nice to see everyone.
Hey, nice to see you too.
Thank you so much for your support.
Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
I mean, it's a problem.
Oh, on Gio, you wanted to say something before I cut you off. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say this. Now I know y'all be like, because I can understand what Perry is saying about this. Like, look, now when people do what they do, I don't care if they're young or not. Once you put yourself in them shoes, you put them big boy shoes on. It's time to play that big boy role. So, all right, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. This was just last year. It was a boy that was a rapper. He was what, 12 or something like that. He was in videos with guns and toting them. He was in shootouts. He go to the judge give him a chance. He go do something else, judge give him another chance. This time he done shot a 1-year-old.
You drop me? Can you drop me? Can you drop me?
Oh yeah. Thank you, Sherelle. Thank you.
Yeah, he shot a 1-year-old baby.
Damn. Now you see what I'm saying? Now you see my point. You see what I'm saying about like I you know, and I understand what Sherelle's saying. What about their upbringing and all that? I get it. And for smaller crimes, maybe you give them a break on that. But when you go too far out there and you take something from another family that can never be replaced, remind you.
Yeah.
Not 20 years, 40 years, not even 60 years.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So most people know right from wrong, even that grew up in bad situations. And like I said, I doubt if we can go up to any 12-year-old and give them 5 basic questions. Is this right or wrong? I bet you all of them at least get those right. So it show you that they got the sense to reason what's right and what's not.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, that's true.
You got a certain sense of look at it like it is what it is.
With these particular cases, why is it that the girlfriends always feel the need when they get into that room to just not tell the truth? That's what I don't understand. Why do they always try to stick up for the boyfriend even though he's getting life? Like, why do they do that? I know you want to protect him, but it doesn't make no sense.
Well, you know, I agree with you, but I think that is that same girl, regardless of if he would have, did a crime or not, if he would have went out and left her and cheated with 15 other girls, would be still sitting there waiting on him. It's just that kind of person that she was so attached to him and feel like this person is her life that she's going to try to protect him, even though he's facing life.
And then the crazy thing is when she had the grandparents next to her, she told them to leave. She told the police, can you tell them to go outside so that I can talk to you guys? Why do people do this? Clicking thing is so sensitive. It's unreal. It's just popping things up left, right, and center. I'm just like, what the hell? As I was saying, people never want to tell the truth in front of their parents. Have you noticed? Or their they never want to just spill it out, the crime they committed. Why do you think that is? Why does the loved ones have to be out of the room for you to speak?
Go ahead, Gio. I mean, because they know what they did was wrong. And it's hard to go to that parent or that relative that raised you and did all this stuff for you to look at them and say, hey, this is what I did. Because inside, they're ashamed of what they did in front of their parents or whatever. But when they out there getting the street cred, they didn't give a damn.
Yes.
Yep, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's this thing now in the streets that these kids believe in. If you're snitching, you ain't cool. Boy, if somebody was about to give you 158 years and you ain't do the crime, you mean to tell me you ain't gonna say you know what I'm saying? You gonna throw your life away from somebody else, or you gonna you about to die in jail. And you
I'm
ain't
not
ever
doing it.
you know what I'm saying? You young too at that. You got these detectives and these federal agents telling you, look, this crime carries 158 years. You got 2 murders, 3 attempted, legal. You know what I'm saying? They start hitting you with drugs.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Illegal
and then the mind F is you're getting 3,000 and odd months. Like what? I have to now calculate all of that while you're walking me down to my cell. That to me is the mess up part. Like I think they did that on purpose in America. You know, the doing the thing in months. I think that's a psychology, isn't it? Do you agree, Perry?
But you see,
it could be like just you know, just
because
to make
with us
like
it'd be a straight 10 years, 10, 12, 15, 18, whatever, and you probably know you're going to do a third, and you can calculate it. But this whole you're doing 500 and odd months. I mean, really.
Yeah, no, I get you. I mean, sometimes I was wondering why they always do it too. But
I think it's a way of making it more harder for you up here to face the sentence. Yeah.
Well, I think it's too late. Hell, I mean, once you already got sentenced to that, you already going behind the bars. So I think I don't know, but I think this with this, you know, snitches get stitches. But believe it or not, you know how if you say something long enough, you're gonna have some people that always buy into it. And trust me, there's a lot of people don't did time because they felt like they couldn't snitch, right?
Yes.
But the person who always said snitches get stitches, he can convince everybody around him. No, you know, they ain't the way you go about it.
Yeah.
So when it come to him, hopefully a few of them cover for him, but he'll be the first one to snitch. He gonna be the first one because I'm gonna tell you something. Like I tell my kid, you know what? You got a group of friends or whatever. I don't mind them coming over. I like them and everything, but you're my child. If you gone somewhere, if you gone and doing time for somebody else, it's hurting me and your mom. You know what I'm saying? And your brother or whatever, right? But these people want you to believe, you know what? Our friendship is this. You know what? If you're now they'll say, oh, how can you snitch on a friend? If your friend seeing you about ready to get time for something he did, if he was truly a friend, he would come and say, hey, you know what? I can't let that happen.
Exactly.
I did it, right? But snitches get stitches, but the fake ass friends get all free.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
and a lot of the time, if it's gang related, it's the older ones telling him, we'll look after your moms. Don't worry. Just take the hit. Just take the hit. And you're there as a 16-year-old thinking, hold on, why am I taking the hit for something I haven't done? Imagine you're innocent. That's another one. People aren't always guilty. Men
don't snitch. Well, men don't do the shit. Men don't do that shit that caused you to snitch neither. Okay?
No.
Hey, a man don't do that. You see what I'm saying?
No.
If you're gonna be a man, don't do those things. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like that. Do you remember that young boy that kind of went viral where they just chopped him up outside the shop? Do you remember? I'm sure you guys have seen that all over the news.
Oh, in New York, you talking about in New York?
They pulled him out of the little bodega, you guys call it. Bodega, is it?
That was in New York. You talking about the young guy that got killed in New York at the store? He got stabbed to death and stuff on camera.
They chopped him up with the machetes. Do you remember?
He was in the Bronx. His name was Junior.
Junior, yeah.
Wow.
And I think that was gang related as well. Like things like that are happening. Like, how do those young boys how do you just grab a machete and chop into somebody's body and do it over and over again in the street? People can see you. As soon as you see the blood spilling in the streets of this young boy. Come on, Perry, you've been to war, right? As a young kid, can you really deal with so much blood spill? Like, it takes a certain person, doesn't it, for you to actually do that? Like, chop and chop and chop?
Yeah, it do. I mean, really, I don't see how somebody could do that.
As a young, innocent kid that you've raised, even those people's parents, like, how do you look at your child? You would just be broken, wouldn't you? Like, that child that you raised, I should hope you didn't raise them to be a murderer, right? So, how do you deal with that? How do you then say that's still my son and I'll go to court. He'll probably get sentenced, but I'm still going to be there for my son. Do you know what I mean?
Right. No, I get it. And, I guess from the parent standpoint, I mean, it's still your kid. He did the time. And, he always going to be your kid, even on good days and bad days, I guess. Yeah. He's doing his time. I guess that's how I would look at it. But, I don't really know. I mean, I guess all depends on how bad it was. And he could have been dead wrong and do something. Maybe I would still support him while he was in prison.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's still my son.
Yeah.
But then the hurt would be that my son actually did something to take another life.
Yeah.
Right. You see what I'm saying? And then probably second guess yourself all your life. Hey, I wonder if that first toy I brought him. You know what I'm saying? Or I wonder if the things I didn't do for him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's like a hard thing, but
that's a hard one. Yeah.
Yeah. But
let me bring up Blavi. Yeah.
If he do the crime, he need to do the damn time too, though. Now,
definitely. I mean, responsibility is one thing. I think, I've seen crimes being committed with people in my community, and a lot of the time, you know what the parents opt in for? Give him his brother's passport out of the country, go back to Africa, right? They run away, and now you see that years upon years. Back in the day, you would get away with that, but now they track you down. They will come to Kenya. They will come to Somalia in that little village where you're hiding and bring you back to, face your,
that person will mess up and come back to where he did the crime. But Mr. Bill, I'm about to go and help my kid take care of some stuff before I go live.
Oh, no worries. Thank you for coming on.
But good show, though. Okay. Hey, Blavi.
Hi.
All right, Perry. I was going to say the same thing. I got to go handle some stuff real quick.
That's good, man. We'll wrap it up in a minute.
Yeah.
Go on, Blavi.
I think I saw the wrong one, because the one I saw was this girl in college, and she got this guy killed her, and her father, her stepfather, was like a UFC fighter.
Right.
That's the first 48 I saw. I don't know which one did you see? What is it called?
The two that I did was about one that got murdered for an Xbox. A second-hand Xbox that they sold to each other for $40, and then the other one was killed because of an argument, just a silly argument, really.
Well, you know how.
But both cases involved young kids. That's what the main topic was today.
Wow, it's sad, but it's a life. It's just the life, You live it. You go anywhere and killing other people. Like, that's not even just an American thing.
No, but that first 48, it's crazy, man. All these little countryside cities in America. Tulsa, is it kind of countryside? It's not a big city, is it? Or is it?
I think it's like one of the biggest cities. It's okay. So Tulsa used to be like Black Wall Street. So Black people who lived there used to do really well, and then they burned it down.
Okay. I underestimated. Sorry about that, people. I didn't know Tulsa was that big. I'll have to look into how big it is.
It used to be like one of the most affluent parts for Black people, Tulsa, but that's changed because of it got burnt down, and the Black people were never able to rebuild it. That's the whole thing with the sundown towns and stuff like that.
But no, thanks for coming on. I've been on for an hour and nearly 13 minutes. So, but thanks for the support, everybody. Thank you. Give me shelter. I'll definitely see you guys for the don't forget the Alan and Farrell part 3. That's the last part of the documentary. We'll be doing that probably on Saturday after we do the Love After Lockup, I think, with Gio. So that's usually our time. So thumbs up, please. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for the support. Obviously, you lot know Gio Malik. Support him, his channel. Shout it out, will you?
Oh no, I'm good. Because I don't want to shout my channel out on your platform. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no use for me too. Everybody know who I am.
Yeah, they know who you are, innit? And Blavi as well. Thanks guys for the chat. Thanks for keeping the chat busy as well. A lot of you had a lot of great input. So thanks for that. Thanks for the support. And I'll catch you guys on the next first 48. We'll probably do another one next couple of days or so. See how I get into this. But thanks again, everybody. And sorry about the delay. Have fun. Have a great evening. And let's say bye.
Bye.
3, 2, 1. Bye.
Hi. Hi. Hi.